Hello from all of us at Langley High School, and greetings to you, our graduating class of 2026. This is the time of the school year when we turn an eye to the next school year and begin talking about courses. It might seem strange that we are only at the midpoint of this school year and now we're talking about next school year, but this is a process that takes months to do. This presentation will cover such topics as diploma types, the how, when, where, and why of choosing your courses for next year, resources available to you for making decisions about which courses to select, common questions and things to consider, and we'll finish up with a couple of tips from current Langley students to you to succeed in high school. So, without any further ado, let's get started with a few introductions. Ms. Greer is our principal at Langley High School. There are 4 assistant principals. Each of you will have an assistant principal to whom you are assigned based on your last name. Take a moment to look at the list and see who your assistant principal is. You could have this assistant principal for the next 4 years, so this is a good person to get to know. Just like in middle school, you will be assigned a school counselor. School counselors are also assigned by students' last names, so you're likely to have the same counselor for all 4 years of high school. As one of the counselors myself, I might be a little biased, but we're also good people to get to know too. Take a moment to look at the list to see who your counselor is. And for those of you whose last names begin with the letters M-A-T-Z through Q and R through S-U-L, I'll help you out here with the pronunciations. Your counselors are Ms. Baldasser and Ms. Siddiqui. There are many other names and faces you will quickly get to learn and know at Langley as well. You will meet them early on when you join us in August. All right, let's talk about the high school diploma. After all, earning one of these is while you'll be with us for the next 4 years. The high school diploma. In Virginia, we have 2 possible diploma types you can earn, the standard diploma and the advanced studies diploma. There are differences to them, but both will get you across the stage and graduated from high school. The notable differences are in the core areas of social studies, math, and science. The standard diploma requires 3 core credits in these subjects, while the advanced studies diploma requires 4. Another notable difference is the world language requirement for the advanced studies diploma. 3 credits of the same language, or 2 credits in 2 different languages are a requirement for the advanced studies diploma. No world language is required to earn a standard diploma. Both diplomas require that you have a CPR AED endorsement or certification, which is part of the 9th grade Health PE curriculum. An economics and personal finance course, or equivalent credit, is also required for graduation. We'll talk with you more about that once you're in high school. No need to worry about it now. During your one-on-one meeting with your counselor during academic advising, have a discussion about which diploma you are pursuing, as there are a couple other subtle differences between the 2. A common myth that we hear from students is that you cannot go to college with a standard diploma. Nonsense. Of course you can get admitted to college with a standard diploma, however you might limit your options. For example, many of the more competitive admissions colleges require at least some world language, or maybe 4 core math courses. Requirements vary from college to college. The advanced studies diploma requirements meet the course requirements of just about any U.S. college to which you might apply. Finally, you will see this term verified credit up near the top, and that 5 verified credits are required for graduation regardless of diploma type. You earn a verified credit when you pass a course that has an SOL connected with it, and of course pass that SOL. As a 9th grade student, most of you will be attempting 3 verified credits: biology, world history 1, and math. If you pass those 3 courses and the SOLs for these courses, you won't see an SOL again until 11th grade when you take the English writing and reading SOLs. That's the short of it. See your counselor with any questions that you have about diplomas and graduation requirements. Ready to talk about picking some courses? Sounds good. Let's start. You will have 7 courses to select. There is an advisory period automatically added to your schedule that will take up a slot, but you will select 7 courses. A typical list of selected courses includes a course in the 4 core areas: English, Social Studies, Math, and Science. You will also be selecting Health PE 9 as part of your course requests. Many of you are taking and plan to continue a world language, and others of you are planning to begin one. Be sure to select this if you are. Next, you will select your electives to bring you to a total of 7 courses. And finally, you can really make your counselor at Langley happy if you have a short list of alternative electives should the 7 courses you select end up not working to create a schedule. The slide says 3, but really, even 1 or 2 alternatives would be helpful. Here are your core and required courses for 9th grade. Make sure that you're selecting 1 course from each area. More on the honors offerings a bit later. Okay, so once you've selected these core and required courses, you have 2 selections left to get you up to the 7. So let's talk some electives. We are fortunate at Langley to be able to offer many different electives in a variety of fields. In the next few slides, we'll briefly check them out. Note that there are more electives offered to our 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. So if you don't see a course that you've heard about at Langley, don't worry, just wait another year. World languages. For most 9th grade students, a world language takes up an elective spot in their schedules. Here are the languages that we offer in-house at Langley. Humanities is a collective term that you will hear referring to our English and Social Studies departments. Here are the electives taught by teachers in these departments. A couple of things to note. Forensics is oratory skills and public speaking. Great skills to have, by the way. But don't sign up for it thinking that you'll be doing stuff like they do on CSI. It's not that kind of forensics. Journalism 1 will get you involved in producing our school newspaper. Well, it's more of a magazine, really. Top notch. Broadcast journalism students prepare regular broadcasts that are seen by the whole school during 3rd period. Take a brief moment to look at these. Here are the offerings in our Fine Arts department. Whether you are an artist with a lot of experience or just have an interest and are starting, our Fine Arts department has a place for you. A couple of notes here as well. In photography, you will study both film photography, including use of a darkroom, and digital photography. Photojournalism is the class that comes up with, organizes, produces, and markets our yearbook. Here are the offerings in our Performing Arts department. You'll be auditioned for placement in band or orchestra. Have an interest in theater, but not being on stage? You might want to join Tech Theater and be one of the many behind-the-scenes people who make a theater production possible. You'll hear the term CTE when you get to Langley. It means Career and Technology Education. Here are the electives offered. If texting and posting to social media are pretty much the extent of your tech experience, you might want to consider information systems as your gateway into computer hardware and office programs. Other electives include sports medicine, a solid course for those of you with an eye toward being an athletic trainer, physical therapist, or perhaps taking our Human Anatomy and Physiology course in 11th or 12th grade. Computer science is also an offering in ninth grade. Okay, so now you're aware of all these nifty classes that we have. So what should you do as you're considering which courses to sign up for? There are 4 key things that you should take into account. The first one is time. This is an obvious reminder, but do remember that there are only 24 hours in each and every day, and hopefully you're sleeping for 8 of them. Another 7 hours are spent in the classroom during weekdays. Many of you will be getting involved in doing sports, clubs, performing arts, part-time jobs, and other extracurricular activities that take up several hours. So as you can see, a lot of your time is already spoken for. Consider these time commitments when selecting your courses. All of your core class teachers might recommend you for honors level courses for next year, but that does not necessarily mean you should take all honors level courses. Your teachers make these recommendations based on your work habits and the aptitude you have demonstrated for the subject, but do not know what your other time commitments are. You do, so plan accordingly. And if you have trouble planning, perfectly understandable, ask your parents, school counselor, your teachers, or coaches for assistance. The second thing to consider is interest. If there is a core subject in which the content fascinates you and you have solid academic habits, consider taking honors if your current teacher recommends it. Likewise, if there is a core subject that you find yourself holding your nose every year when you select a course in that subject, why add to the angst and stress? Consider standard level so you can spend more time on the subjects you do enjoy. Electives. One of the most common questions we get about electives is, what electives look good to colleges? Colleges consistently tell us that none really stick out. Like high school counselors, college admissions counselors generally believe that electives are for you to explore your interests, try out different things, and who knows, maybe discover what might ultimately become a career path for you. Explore your interests through electives. The third thing to consider is your post-high school plans. I know, you're probably thinking, but I haven't even finished middle school yet. Why are you asking me about what my plans for after high school are? Don't worry. I don't have any plans yet after high school is a perfectly fine answer for a rising ninth grade student. We'll have a more in-depth discussion if you're still saying this in 4 years, but for now it's fine. Ultimately, for many of you this will be college. For others it will be military. For some a trade school. For others it will be heading straight into the workforce. It's something that your counselor will work with you on as you move through high school. The final thing to consider is graduation requirements. Although part of our jobs as counselors is to be sure that you are taking courses meeting requirements for a timely graduation, it doesn't hurt to keep track yourselves as well. This can mean planning out courses beyond just next year. Your middle school counselor can give you a bit of a preview, and then when you meet with your high school counselor next year for planning for 10th grade courses, more of the specifics will be filled in. This consideration is not something to get anxious about as a rising 9th grade student. Naturally, what courses you select are important to you, but they are also important to your counselor and to the administrative team here at Langley. Throughout the months of January and February, we will see about 1,500 students, grades 9 through 11, one-on-one to talk courses and academic planning. The 8th grade counselors will be doing the same with you, our rising 9th grade class. During this time, over 14,000 courses will be selected. The administrative team here at Langley will use the courses selected to make staffing decisions in order to meet the needs presented with these course selections, and then build a master schedule that will be worked on for several months so as to maximize the number of students who can get all the courses they selected into actual working schedules. For this reason, choose your classes wisely. There is no guarantee of a change if you later decide you would like to take a different course. On that somber note, let's switch to something more positive, supporting you in the course selection process. Here are the resources available to help you to make informed and responsible choices about courses. The course catalog and course planning sheet are available on the Langley School website, Main Menu, Student Services, Academic Advising. The course catalog contains a brief, generic description of a course, as well as any prerequisites or grade level restrictions. The curriculum and electives videos are perhaps the best resources available to you about individual courses. Current teachers of the courses have developed videos from 2 to 9 minutes long in which they describe the course and differences in levels in the core subject areas. One of the most common questions counselors get about courses is, what's the difference between honors and standard in a particular subject? Check out these videos and hear the teachers explain the differences. Links to these videos are available online. Your current grades. 9 times out of 10, past performance gives a pretty good indication of future performance here. So if you're earning a C+ in standard civics, you might get a raised eyebrow in a discussion from your counselor and civics teacher if you select World History 1 honors for your 9th grade social studies course. Your current grades serve as a reminder for you to keep it real in selecting courses. Teacher recommendations. Your teachers have seen your work for about a semester now and have a pretty good idea of your abilities and work habits. If you're thinking about changing levels in a subject for next year, ask your teacher about it. He or she knows about the next course and can give you an honest assessment and recommendation. Your counselor can also be a good resource, depending on how well he or she knows you. Unlike teachers with their recommendations, counselors will give you a more big picture or holistic recommendation based on what you tell him or her. And finally, you might have some friends or an older brother or sister at Langley, so peer word of mouth can be a good resource. Be careful with this one though. On one hand, you can get some perspective from someone you know who has or is sitting in the course now. On the other hand, the information you get might be a little, let's just say, exaggerated and not 100% reliable. So, as you can see, selecting courses isn't something that you have to do all by yourself. On the contrary, we urge that you don't. Okay, just a few things to keep in mind as you begin. Should I try honors next year if I'm not in honors or AAP this year? This is a great discussion to have with your current teacher in the subject you are considering this. He or she will have the best insight and recommendation. It is strongly urged that you do not overreach by telling yourself, well, I know that I haven't been applying myself as much as I should, but next year in high school, I'll be much better with it. Get much better with it first, then make your move. Important message here. Starting now, and in the course of your time at Langley, you are likely to hear a lot of chatter from peers about how you need to take this or that course, or you need to take X number of honors or AP courses in particular years in high school. A word of advice from your Langley counselors who have over 80 years of combined experience doing this. Yes, we're that old. Play to your strengths and do not overreach. Keep it real. And you're getting a pretty good idea now as 8th graders knowing what real is for you. Make sure that you're selecting a course, not a teacher. Yes, some teachers have elective courses that students know they teach. I'm going to pick on Ms. Taylor, a Photography 1 teacher at Langley. As much as you might have heard how great the class is and how cool Ms. Taylor is as a teacher, selecting Photography 1 to have her as a teacher next year isn't a wise move. Through staffing, she may not be a Photography 1 teacher next year. Or Ms. Taylor may win a fellowship with National Geographic over the summer and leave to travel and photograph the world. Things can and do change. No school year is exactly like the previous year in teacher staffing, ever. So choose courses for the course, not the teacher. The same applies to friends. Don't sign up for a class because you and a couple of friends want to have a class together. chances are pretty good that you won't actually be in the same class. For example, we have 3 different Photography 1 classes this year. Balance is vital. This was especially a challenge for many this year, coming off of a year of virtual learning. If this was you, remember that feeling as you select your courses and keep it real. Check out those core courses and electives videos. There were some good things that came about as a result of the school shutdown and resorting to virtual learning, and the teachers taking time out to make these videos to give overviews of their classes is definitely one of them. I can't emphasize this enough. Check them out. Come prepared when you meet with your counselor. Your counselor will love you for this. This doesn't mean don't have questions when you see your counselor. It simply means showing that you have at least done your part in checking out the courses you're interested in. Ideally, you won't be asking questions like, "So, what's film study like, and what are you doing there?" You'll have watched the 4-minute video put together by Mr. Baricki about the course and might know more than your counselor about it. Instead, you and your counselor will ideally be focusing on things like balance, graduation requirements, and academic planning while discussing your selected courses. Okay, so you've checked out the list of courses, researched and selected the 7 courses you want or need to take, met with your counselor and turned in those courses, completed 8th grade, congratulations, are enjoying the summer, and then in mid-August, date yet to be determined, see your actual class schedule for 9th grade online. What is that schedule going to be like? Well, not much different than you're already used to. Here at Langley, we are on a block schedule, meaning that you have half of your classes one day, the other half the next, and it keeps alternating back and forth like that. We call them green and gold days after Langley's colors, but you'll also hear them referred to as odd and even days too. Green odd, gold even. Don't sweat it. You'll have it figured out before the first day of school. All right, way back at the beginning of this presentation, I promised you some sage advice to you from current students at Langley. Here it is. Most of the advice centers on one theme, balance. And as part of balance, here are some of the keys that our students have found to help them obtain it. Select courses that challenge you, but don't overwhelm you. Yes, even having just one course in which you are in over your head can disrupt other aspects of your life. A good way to reduce the likelihood of this happening is getting good, objective recommendations from your current teachers. Getting involved. How and when you do this is entirely up to you as a person. For you outgoing folks, you might be involved in multiple things the moment you walk into Langley. For you more introverted folks, you might take some time to get settled and get the lay of the land before checking things out. Get involved to the level you want to be and when you want to be there. Healthy choices. Wow, these simple things can make a huge difference. Sleep is so important and is something that we see so many students who struggle have a tough time getting enough of for whatever reason. I'll point out the obvious here. Our phones. They are remarkable tools, but can also be exceptional distractions. It's easy to pick up your phone at 9:30 at night and fall down a rabbit hole of social media, texting, YouTube, etc. The next thing you know, it's 11:30 or later, and you have to be up at 6 o'clock for school. You're still growing, mentally and physically, and your body needs sleep. Don't shortchange it for a texting or media binge. Diet is another one. Treat your body and mind right, and it will perform at a high level. Organization is a learned skill and is so important. It greatly enhances your ability to be efficient and to do more with less and in less time. Using resources to develop good routines and good habits. As previously mentioned with organization, these tend to be learned skills, and they do take time to build, establish, and maintain. You're not on your own with this, though. We're here for you. Teachers, administrators, counselors, school psychologist, school social worker, and of course, your parents. We've all been in similar shoes to the ones you're now walking in. A common reason that we hear from students who are struggling for not seeking out advice or help from an adult resource earlier is that they see it as a sign of weakness and tell us that other kids who are highly successful do it on their own, so they need to as well. Here's an insider secret. One of the main reasons most of those other kids who are highly successful are that way is that they don't do it on their own. They have trusted adults in their lives that they rely on for support in their growth and development. They utilize resources available to them, and we encourage you to do the same. Phew, okay, we've covered a lot. This is a big process, and it's impossible to cover it all in a single presentation, so you likely have questions. No worries. Remember that you are equipped with many resources at your disposal. As a reminder, here is how you find the academic advising resources on the Langley webpage. Teachers and counselors are happy to assist in any way that we can as you begin selecting courses and preparing for high school. You're now officially taking the first planning steps of your high school career with us, and we hope that you are as excited as we are for what lies ahead for you the next 4 years. On behalf of our administration, teachers, counselors, and all faculty here at Langley, it is an honor and privilege to be one of the first to welcome you to Saxon Country. Thank you for your time and attention, and we'll see you in August.